Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 14th episode of
15th.
Podcast Period. 15th? I don't know. I don't know what episode we're on anymore. Episode
15.
of Podcast Period. 15. I said 15.
You said
Jeez.
14.
The internet's stupidest podcast. God. Can't even get out the intro without you correcting me. My name is Ben, and with me today, unfortunately, is my co-host David.
You're just mad because you're wrong.
You know what? I labeled my notes episode 14, so that's what this is. It's episode 14. Oh, no, I didn't. I labeled it episode 15. Oh, my God.
Okay, then. Thank you very much. You wanna do that again?
No. I don't apologize. You don't deserve any apologies.
I didn't say I deserved an apology. I just said you were stupid.
Well, I mean, touche, my friend, touche.
Works with the podcast, right?
Exactly. You can't be on the internet's stupidest podcast if you're not somewhat stupid yourself. Let's be honest. That's why I have you on here.
Oh, you're so kind. So kind. Don't mess with
okay.
the editor-in-chief.
Oh, please, whatever. All right, so this week we've got a few articles, a few discussion topics. As usual, we didn't watch a movie this week because we had like zero time to prepare. Not that we prepare anything in advance anyway, but you know what I'm saying. So a question I thought of like right before the show actually that I really wanted to ask, because this happened a lot to me when I was a kid. There was a whole bunch of stuff that I couldn't watch when I was a kid that I ended up watching when I was an adult, I should say. So what show and or movie did you miss out on during childhood but later watched and loved as an adult?
Oh, honestly, probably nothing.
No?
Mostly because I really wasn't anything that was like per se restricted that I actually wanted to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And there isn't anything that I've watched now because of that. So, like, sure, there'd be things that I wouldn't have been interested in as a kid that I am as an adult, that sure I would have missed out as a child if I actually wanted to watch it, but nothing like that ever came up. Like, there wasn't like a genre or anything that I couldn't watch, like horror movies or something with witchcraft or something that some parents kind of frown upon or anything like that.
That's the thing with my parents. They were one of those not to say I don't love my parents, and I understand why they did it, but there was a whole bunch of stuff that we couldn't watch, like anything with like magic or whatever. That was a no-go. So Harry Potter was out, along with like Avatar and any of those weird like cartoon shows, which Avatar: The Last Airbender is one of my answers to this question. This is a show that I binge watched within like a week when I got older. It is amazing. Have you seen Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Oh God, no! I loved it. Absolutely loved it. My dad liked it.
It was such a good show. I need to watch through Legend of Korra. I tried to watch like the first season of it. I couldn't really get into it as much as I did.
It's not as good.
Avatar. Yeah,
it's not as good. I gave up. I think it was the second season that I pretty much gave up. I mean, I had such high hopes for it, and it never panned out like Avatar did. Yeah,
that's. I still want to go back and watch it just to watch it, but it's not as good as Avatar is in my eyes.
No.
So even though the whole Harry Potter thing was the case, I actually ended up like watching like the first 3 movies of Harry Potter recently with Nicole, my wife, for those of you who don't know. They were okay. I'm not gonna say they were like the best movies ever, because they were not, definitely. But I don't know. I just couldn't get super into it. They weren't. I don't know. They were all right.
See, that. I'm the opposite way. The whole Harry Potter thing. My parents didn't get it. Well, I think my dad liked it.
Mm-hmm.
My mom could care less.
Yeah.
But Grandma was the one that really tried to get me to watch that. And I don't know. I've never been a big Harry Potter fan. It just doesn't interest me. I've watched some of the movies, not all of them. I'm definitely not reading the books. I'm not that big into it. It's not happening.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. And there was a period, like right after I moved up to Tennessee. This is like right after I turned 18 and right after I got my first job too. So there was a period of time where I was watching like all of the like 80s and 70s action movies that I had heard about but never seen. Like I saw Predator, I saw Alien and Aliens, and there was a few other ones that I ended up buying and watching then too. And those are movies that I've all loved. Alien is great. Aliens is great, but in a different way, because it's kind of its own. It's not its own genre, but it's a different genre than Alien. And then Predator is just, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah,
that's good. It's good. So I'm not really surprised knowing your parents that there wasn't really anything off limits, but
yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say there wasn't going to be anything that would have been off limits, but anything that would have been like okay, anything that would have been age
appropriate. Yeah.
Would have been, if it was strictly age inappropriate based on like sex or other things like that. Okay, it may have been a no-no. But I wasn't into things like that anyway, so it didn't really matter. Everything else, I didn't have a very sheltered childhood when it came to stuff like that. They could care less for the most part.
Figures, yeah. That's like I said, that's kind of where you and I differ as far as our childhoods with our parents go.
Yeah, you were like a lot more sheltered.
Nothing against my parents, but I was very, very, very sheltered as a kid.
Yeah, so I gather.
Yeah.
That's how you end up with me as a friend.
Yeah, you ruined me. I was ruined long before I met you.
I was going to say, I didn't ruin you one bit. I think that was high school, my friend.
Oh, yeah, you're probably not far off. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so what did you end up bringing to the table there, David?
Well, okay, so a follow-up to the childhood question of yours. Since yours was kind of somewhat sheltered, it may actually prove more difficult, but was there a show or a movie or a series of movies that you actually were able to watch that proved like really, really captivating to you, or like really, really emotional? You can decide how you want to answer that one. Which way you want to go?
I don't know. That's hard to say. I mean, there's a lot of series from my childhood that I loved, but there wasn't, I don't know, at least not that I'm remembering, there wasn't anything that I would want to go back to today and just like watch from start to finish. The only series that really comes to mind, mostly because it's what got me into Batman, there was this show when I was in like elementary / middle school. It was called The Batman, and it only ran for like I think 4 or 5 seasons, but it's what got me into Batman. So that's probably the thing that I'm most, as far as like TV shows go, it's probably the one that I'm most fond of, just because of the thing that it introduced me to and all of the other great things that I've come to enjoy because of that show. Mm-hmm. Like the shows that preceded it and all the movies that I've gotten to watch. And because as you know, and as most of my friends know, I'm a very, very big big Batman nerd, and that show is like the entire reason why. It's not even that good of a Batman show, honestly. What's really funny is, and not, I only know this because I've got like an affinity for voices when it comes to voice actors and such, but do you remember, this is probably a little bit after your time, but do you remember the Curious George show that aired on PBS?
Yes.
Okay. The dude that played Batman in The Batman played the narrator in Curious George in that TV show.
Okay.
Very interesting. I'm pretty sure those are the only two roles that he had is in TV too. Besides like commercials that he's done lately. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that's probably what my answer would be is the Batman. What would you say yours is?
Okay, so like a TV series that like proved really, really captivating would probably be The Magic School Bus, just because we saw it a lot in elementary school, but I'm in the middle of watching it now again on Netflix, so I don't know why, I just like it a lot. And then like a movie franchise that I really, really liked, and I would watch start to finish if I had every single one of them. Anyways, I've got the majority, and I've got the ones from my childhood that I think are really good, is the Land Before Time movies.
That's something that I watched during my I don't remember those movies at all. I maybe watched like one or two of them. Mm-hmm. I want to go back and rewatch them.
Yeah, no, those movies tug at my
they're good,
heartstrings.
But yeah, that's something that I need to go back and rewatch that I didn't necessarily miss out on. I just don't remember at all. Mm-hmm. Speaking of Land Before Time, this is a movie that like I don't know if a whole lot of people remember. Did you ever see the Disney movie Dinosaurs?
Yes, the it was a live action kind of live
CGI.
action CGI with the meteor strike in it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
My grandmother loved that one. Oh gosh.
I feel like it's so weird because everybody I've talked to about that movie knows what it is. But it felt so exclusive to my childhood because I don't remember like hearing anybody talk about it during my childhood at all.
Yeah.
It was just me and my family because we bought it on like VHS forever. Yep. And I actually I recently watched it again with Nicole on on Amazon like 6 months ago or something like that. Let me tell you, some of it is a little iffy on the CGI side, but for the most part it still holds up pretty well.
It's really good. I absolutely love that opening shot where the pterodactyl is carrying the egg. And it's going through the canyons and through the dinosaurs and over the ocean, and I just love that shot. It's so open world, and it looks so beautiful.
It's so good looking. It's in what year did that movie come out too? It had to be like 1999 or something, wasn't it?
I don't remember. It's part of my childhood, but I don't remember exactly.
I was close. It's 2000. 2000 was when it came out. There you go.
Which is probably why I remember it being on VHS and not DVD, because it was kind of still a weird transition time.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think anybody had too many DVDs back then.
No. In
2000.
No, it was getting close, but it wasn't quite there yet. And that's where most of my DVD collection came from, is the early 2000s. All the childhood stuff I have over there. All the Disney classics that got re-released on DVD.
That probably won't ever happen again.
Probably not. Especially with the other one we'll be talking about here in a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so another thing that I want to talk about, actually kind of related to the nostalgia factor. Recently, I believe this was in California, in a game shop called Pink Gorilla Games. Wait, no, where is Seattle? Seattle, Washington. Okay. So, it was in Washington, Pink Gorilla Games. Some dude came in with a bag full of just, like, junk NES titles, like sports titles and all of these just really random, really not rare titles. And he was turning them in to get some money for God knows what. Probably just to get rid of the things. But so he turns them in, and they're looking through the bag, and at the bottom of the bag is a Nintendo World Championships cartridge. And do you know the significance of that, David?
Absolutely not. I'm trying to look at this, and I'm like, I'm
okay.
confused, so explain it.
So the basic gist is, in 1990, Nintendo had a games competition. It was like a national thing, where you would compete with all of these other people to get the best times in a championship. And I can't remember exactly what the person won or whatever, but the cartridge used during the tournament has become like a crazy collector's item because obviously there's not a whole lot of them made. It's got what is it? Super Mario Brothers, Rad Racer, and Tetris. It's like timed versions of them. So these games, they don't exist anywhere else. The ROMs have been dumped on the internet, but the only way you can play it on a console is by way of these cartridges, unless you decide to burn one with the ROM that was leaked on the internet. But that's besides the point. So that's most of the reason why this cartridge was sold to this game game store for $13,000. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Like I said, there's not that many of them made, because all they used them for was this competition that Nintendo did in like 1990 or whatever. Now there is another version of this cartridge. It's a gold version of it that was given out as prizes in Nintendo Power around the same time, I believe. And I'm pretty sure those are even more rare, but still, there's like maybe like 200 of these in the world or something like that. Oh no, this says the gray ones, there's approximately one of 90.
Jeez.
One of 90 that are still existing. So, yeah, $13,000 for an NES cartridge. Could you imagine?
I mean, just, it's crazy that there's old stuff out there like that people have had hidden away in boxes and attics and basements, not knowing what they're sitting on, and it just randomly pops up like that, and it's like, holy cow, that piece of plastic is worth $13,000.
Yeah, exactly. And this dude had no idea what it was, because he was just like, yeah, I don't know what this is. Mm-hmm. The game store was the one that offered him the $13,000. He wasn't coming in there like, hey, I know what this is. I want $13,000 for it. He just threw it
for being honest.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't say how much they sold it for, but it was apparently, 1, sold that day, and 2, they made a profit on it. So I'm sure it was probably somewhere in the neighborhood of probably $15,000 to $20,000 that somebody paid for it.
I have
but
no doubt.
It's like you said, it's just ridiculous to think that in somebody's basement or in somebody's attic there could be another one of these things or something similar, and that nobody that it's like sitting in your grandparents' house or whatever, and they don't know about it anymore.
Yep.
So I don't know. I thought that was interesting, especially considering he got $13,000 in his pocket after that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what else do you have there, boyo?
Okay, so it's been going on for a bit, but it takes them a bit to get going on stuff. They have to do all this testing, but Amazon is testing a new delivery robot. I believe it's been tested in the Seattle area this whole time, but now they're releasing it out in Anaheim, California. So it's a little robot that, based on it's not going to be for everything, and it's going to be like really niche circumstances where it's deployed. If there's better ways to do it, they're going to use the other ways that they can get stuff delivered to you to do it. But I would guess this would be like really good for like one-day delivery stuff, where like they have the thing inside the city already, and they could just get it out to your door. I would think it would be one. It would have to be something that they have in stock, and two, it would have to be something that, like, you'd have to live like really close to the warehouse or something in order for this to be even like viable. So it's like a 6-wheeled, like cooler sized delivery vehicle that completely does everything by itself as far as navigating the streets. It knows the layout of the streets, along with sensors and other, I'm assuming video, radar, other GPS navigation, everything to help navigate. It's done completely autonomously. It has no interference whatsoever from human beings. They do have a human supervising this thing for now. But
that's probably not a bad idea.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just that person's there just to keep an eye on things. It's not controlling it in any way. It's not helping it out. It's just there to keep things from going astray. So
and hit the panic button if something goes wrong.
Exactly. So
yeah.
Amazon's going to be driving little robots to your door. This is also apparently supposed to help pave way for their delivery of drones and stuff. Drone delivery coming next. So little
first
drone coming by to drop off your package.
First they want you to leave a key for your Amazon delivery person or whatever. What was that? Was it like a camera that you could let people in with or something?
I know I think one program, it's allowing, I want to say it was allowing them to like drop it off in like your doorway or something, and they could have like an access code to quickly put it inside the door. I think there's another version of this that also allows them to gain access to your trunk of your vehicle.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so I'm not going to do either of those things anytime soon.
They could leave it in there, and then they can just close it and be done with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that.
No, it's the trunk. That one seems a little safer. It really depends, because there's some vehicles that the release for the seats is in the trunk of the car. So if you have access to the trunk, then you have access to the car. There's other vehicles where you have to get access from inside the car to fold down those seats. So those, it wouldn't maybe bother me as much as long as there wasn't things inside the trunk.
Yeah.
There's no way that there's an Amazon employee opening my front door to drop a package off. That's not happening for sure.
You can count me out of that one, Amazon.
Exactly.
Just shove it where the sun don't shine.
Yeah, just stick it in the mailbox where everything else goes. I mean, they can't. They honestly, they can't even get that right. Most of the time, it just gets thrown on the front porch, and it's like, oh, okay. It's out in the woods. Why don't you just put a giant flag on it that says, "Here, neighborhood thief, here's a package ready for you to steal."
Yeah.
Certainly am glad that's not happened here.
Stupid. Oh, boy. Okay, so... what I've got next is the next iteration of AMD's EPYC CPUs, codename Rome. They're built on the new Zen 2 CPU cores. I believe at least the one that they're talking about is 64 cores, 128 threads. It supports a higher DDR4 clock rate than the old EPYC processors did, and it offers 128 PCIe 4.0 lanes, which has it's twice the bandwidth of PCIe 3.0. Not that we're not even close to saturating PCIe 3. So
especially if you have a X16 slot.
Yeah, exactly. It's not even close.
Yeah.
Oh boy. So it's just crazy how far AMD has come in the last few years. I don't remember if we talked about Ryzen 3000 at all on the podcast when that came out.
We discussed the leaks before.
Yeah,
we didn't talk about
it.
Which, by the way, the leaks were pretty much spot on too.
Exactly, yeah. If you guys didn't hear about that, AMD has basically caught up with Intel, and that's the first time anybody can say that in like the last decade or something like that.
They haven't been competitive since early Athlon days. As soon as Bulldozer launched and Intel ran off with Sandy Bridge and then Ivy Bridge, that was the beginning of the end for any competitiveness from AMD. Bulldozer sucked.
Yeah, no. They ran on Bulldozer pretty much right up until Ryzen 2, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean there was a refresh here and there, but it was
it's still
all
basically
FX
Bulldozer
series stuff, and it all sucks.
Yeah. So they've basically caught up, and it even shows in the new EPYC line, because I believe was it you telling me that Google and Apple were buying up the new EPYC CPUs or something like that?
Well, the new
or Google and Amazon or somebody.
It was Oak Ridge National Laboratories is partnering with AMD and a third company that I can't remember off the Cray Supercomputing. That's who it is.
Mm-hmm.
Using the new EPYC CPUs, the new Rome CPUs. They're going to build the new world's first exascale supercomputer at Oak Ridge National Laboratories. And I'm sure there's plenty of other companies like Apple and Google. I'm pretty sure Google is getting a lot of them too. I'm not sure about
that wouldn't
Apple,
surprise me. Considering exactly where they're at right now, it would not surprise me if people started moving over to AMD. Because like we said, as of Ryzen 3000, AMD is pretty much neck and neck with Intel as far as clock speeds and IPS and everything goes. And they are way outpacing them in the core count and thread count.
Yeah, I mean...
and pricing.
It doesn't take much to totally catch up and destroy what little bit of... Because there is a very slight IPC deficit for Ryzen 3000. Very, very slight compared to the latest Intel. Yeah. But when you're running server chips, you're not going to get the 5 gigahertz that you can on Intel's mainstream consumer processors. So I'm pretty sure the clock speed advantage of Intel is wiped away when you get down to server CPUs like this, because you can't run those that fast. Their core count, like you said, is just through the roof. There's no way Intel can outperform this. You just can't.
Intel doesn't have anything close.
How many?
As far as
how many cores are they saying Rome is going to have?
The one in this article is there's a 64 core 128 thread. That's the EPYC 7742, and the EPYC 7502 is 32 core 64 thread.
And that's one processor, one socket, versus what is Intel doing? Like 20 core.
So the ones that they're testing,
solutions?
the ones that they're testing against are the 28 core 56 thread Xeon Platinum 8280 and the 20 core 40 thread Xeon Gold 6138. Basically, and they're doing dual socket implementations for all 4 SKUs when they're testing this.
Okay.
So Ryzen outperformed AMD in almost every test. There's one that I'm looking at right now.
Outperformed Intel, you mean?
Yeah. AMD outperformed Intel in almost every test. That's what I meant. Sorry.
That's what I thought.
And they're definitely outperforming Intel in price. So the 8280, which was the 28 core 56 thread, $10,000.
Ouch.
Do you want to guess what the 64 thread 128 core 64 core 128 thread EPYC processor is going for?
I'm going to take a shot in the dark and say $2,000 to $3,000 tops.
Oh, it's a little bit higher than that. It's $7,000. But that's competing against, again, the 8280.
That's still a $3,000 price difference.
Yeah.
With more performance.
Mm-hmm. And then the Gold 6138, which is the 20-core 40-thread processor, is priced comparatively to the 7502, which was the 32-core 64-thread. $100 less, and you get 24 more threads.
Ouch.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why AMD has beat Intel on pretty much every single test.
There is not one. I don't think there is one case scenario that you can give to me right now besides best gaming CPU. There is not one scenario where I think you could tell me Intel is better than AMD as far as price to performance goes. You can't do it.
Not anymore.
As far as
There's
pure
no way.
performance, I think best gaming CPU is all they've got. And even that's a stretch because that 9900K is only going to get them so far if they don't get anything out soon.
And again, you still have to consider the price, which as of today,
what?
For the 9900K,
30-40% more? What is it, $400 still?
9900K. Where is it on Amazon? I'll look at Newegg. Newegg has it for $484.99.
Oh, goodness.
Keep in mind, this is, 8-core, 16-thread?
Yep.
Which, as of the new Ryzen 3, or new Ryzen 3 CPUs. What is that? Ryzen 3...
3700X would probably be your closest core count comparison.
3700X, 8-core, 16-thread, $329.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
about 30. That's about 30%, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like we're saying, there's almost no reason to go with Intel anymore unless you absolutely need the IPC advantage that Intel has, which isn't even that much anymore.
We're not even talking 5-10% anymore. We're talking a couple of percentage points 90% of the time. I think 4%.
Yeah,
good
exactly.
Yeah.
It's basically when everything launched as far as Ryzen 3000 goes, pretty much all of the tests between the two CPUs look like they were like within margin of error, basically, as far as I could tell.
There really wasn't anything that you could say, hands down, every single game. You can't do it. You could do it with the 9900K versus the 2700X. You could say almost every single game Intel would win. You cannot do that anymore. It is very game dependent. Half of them go to AMD, half of them go to Intel. It's a toss up. It really is, and that is.
And even the games that do go to Intel, AMD is not far behind.
Yeah, no, it's not like it's half the percentage.
Yeah, exactly.
It's neck and neck.
Yeah, no, it's not even close anymore.
Nope.
If like we're saying, if you're in the market for a new gaming computer and you're considering anything except AMD, you are doing yourself and your wallet a disservice. It is absolutely ridiculous how far AMD has come in the last 3 years.
Yep. 2017 Ryzen.
I believe so. Yeah,
3 years.
It was right after we both built our PCs. So yeah. Imagine we could have gotten on the Ryzen train so long ago and been and upgraded to Ryzen 3000.
Yeah, no. Oh well.
Yeah. What you gonna do?
Hindsight 2020.
Exactly. All right. What else do you have there, David?
Oh, let's see. Anybody want to hand over your dreams to Disney now? They've got a pretty good reason to do it. They are, which I hate that somebody is launching a new streaming service. But Disney has decided to launch Disney Plus. It's going to be their all-new streaming service that they are actually going to include ESPN Plus and Hulu for the combined price of only $12.99.
The ad-supported version of Hulu.
Yes, the basic versions of Hulu, ad-supported, and ESPN Plus as well. So it's got the ads.
I would jump on one of these deals if there was an option to do the upgraded ad-free version.
Which is exactly what I said, because I could care less about ESPN Plus. So if I could drop ESPN Plus, but upgrade to the ad-free version of Hulu instead,
yeah,
I would so jump on that train right then and there.
I'd have been like, yep, sign me up. I'll do it.
So they're saving you about $27% if you ended up adding all the basic plans individually. It's $6.99, $5.99, and $4.99 respectively for Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and Hulu, which comes out to $17.97. So it's a 27% discount. Which I think is actually pretty good, with the exception of the caveat that Ben pointed out, is the ad-supported version of Hulu, which I will never go back to again. I got the ads a long time ago, and I am not going back.
Nope, can't do it.
And it says it's the standard Netflix option, which is supposed to be the 1080p version, so if that's a problem for you early 4K adopters that actually can utilize it, okay, well then that's the other caveat too. But hey, if you have all three and you're using the basic plan anyways, then sign up with the Disney Plus thing and get a discount.
Exactly.
Because why not?
And get 2 more streaming services that you may or may not use thrown into the mix.
Exactly. So I don't think it's a bad deal, but it's not a deal for me because of the ads.
Like you said, if they did Disney Plus and the ad-free version of Hulu for that price, yep, I'd do it.
Yep.
Right then and there. Not even a hesitation. But alas, nobody wants to promote the ad-free version of Hulu. So sad.
So.
All the bundles that I've seen have been with the ad version of Hulu.
Mm-hmm. So, $12.99 beats Netflix's 1080p, or it matches 1080p. So, poor Netflix. They're going to have to cut their. See, I don't see them doing it either. They've been just increasing it time and time again.
Yeah, I know.
I think what they need to do is drop the 4K premium plan.
You just roll that into the
and then just roll that into, so you have basic Netflix, which is either leave it the one screen option that they have now in standard HD, which is only supposed to be 720p, or roll the full HD completely out and just replace it with the 4K option for the same price. Get rid of the 4K price premium. That way it's at least it's still price competitive, but it's giving you more for your money, because right now I don't see this not being an issue for them. I really don't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think you're right. And this whole topic actually rolls pretty nicely into one that I wanted to talk about, which was the fact that everybody and their mother's brother is rolling out a streaming service now.
Yeah, I was really disappointed.
It's kind of ridiculous.
When I heard Disney was going to do one, it's like, really? That means I have to have Netflix. I have to have Hulu. I mean, I don't have to, but it's freaking fragmenting into so many things now. It's like, oh Lord.
I know. If you want to watch TV, then it's kind of hard pressed not to have all of the main streaming services nowadays. You know, like Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon. You could basically get everything there. But even as everybody starts making their own streaming services,
it gets harder and
more
harder.
and more stuff to that's hidden behind this extra paywall.
Yeah.
Which sucks, because there's a bunch of stuff that I'd like to watch that's like on CBS All Access or whatever, but I don't want to pay another like $7 for it or whatever.
See, CBS was the first one that kind of broke the camel's back on me, because there's a lot of stuff that I like on CBS that, thank goodness, a lot of the older stuff that I like to watch is on Hulu. But Bull, I really love Bull. Totally forgot to set up the recording for this season so that I could catch it on the DVR, and just completely missed this season. You can't get anywhere unless you do CBS All Access. At least Disney stuff was on Netflix. They had all the Marvel movies coming out. They had all the latest Pixar movies coming out, and every once in a while they had an older gem hidden in there once in a while.
Yeah.
Now you can't even get that with Netflix, which honestly makes that's another hurt on Netflix's side. It makes that one even less tempting now.
They're gonna need to up their original content game even more than they already have, because
and stop canceling after 2 or 3 seasons. Really good shows.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I get the reason why, but at the same time, if you don't have content to draw people in, even if it's content that only maybe a quarter of your subscribers are watching or whatever, maybe even less than that. Like, I don't know. It seems a little bit ridiculous that they cancel so many shows after like 1 or 2 seasons or whatever. And then the shows that they do keep on take like 2-year hiatuses, like with Stranger Things or whatever. God, I can't even remember when season 2 came out.
It was a lot longer than it should have been before we got season 3. Season 3 should have been out last fall, and we didn't get it until this summer.
Yeah. It took them so long to get it out that all the actors went through puberty. It's ridiculous. I have to say, as much as I hate the streaming service fragmenting that we've been talking about, there is one that I've paid for that I really enjoy, but that's just because of, again, my love of Batman. There was a DC Universe streaming service that I pay for, that's got a bunch of a few original shows and a bunch of like the Batman movies that I like to watch, and it's kind of curbing my my movie collection addiction that I had for that series of movies, because they've had those movies rolling out like 1 or 2 a year for a few years now, and it was getting mighty expensive to buy one every time it came out, especially nowadays. But now I can watch them all, almost all of them, in perpetuity forever, and I don't have to pay for another DVD. Plus I get old shows and new shows and like all of the DC comics that I could want,
which is
for $8 a month. Perfect.
It's the great thing about them, but it's getting to be to where it's
getting
expensive.
That's the thing, though. See, I can understand it if it's for like some sort of niche thing. Like they have what is that streaming service called? It's for horror movies, but I can't remember the name of it right now off the top of my head. That's like the perfect example of a streaming service that isn't necessary, but at the same time it makes a lot of sense to have, along with, you know, like the DC one that I pay for, or any other like niche streaming service. But when you've got these content providers like CBS or Disney hiding content that you used to be able to find on other streaming services behind a paywall, then you're kind of cutting off your own foot there. I don't know. And not to say that even the DC Universe streaming service that I pay for, there was a couple of shows that were on Amazon Prime before that aren't on there now, but it's nowhere near where it was or where it is with like CBS, like with what you said, The Bowl and all that other stuff that's airing on CBS that's now behind this paywall. I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems a little bit ridiculous. We didn't need a CBS streaming service. We didn't need a Disney one. But we have them. It's great.
So, streaming service fatigue right there. I'm going to get tired of hearing about it because everybody and their mother is going to have one, and it's going to be impossible to get everything you want.
You know what we need to do, David? We need to start our own streaming service. The only thing that's going to be on it is this podcast. And everybody's going to pay for it because everybody listens to our podcast. $50 a month to access this podcast. Just imagine that dystopian future, guys. And now imagine a world where you could support the show for only $1 a month on our Patreon page. Hey. That's a nice ad read in there.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
That's exactly where it's going to go, too.
Anyway. Speaking of, like I said, we do have a Patreon page, and we do release episodes as soon as they're edited, which could be up to 2 weeks earlier than everybody else gets them. So if you're willing and able, feel free to give us a dollar or two. The dollar tier does not give you early access to episodes, but it does give you access to our creator posts, which we don't have too many of because, you know, we don't have any patrons on there yet. And it does give you access to the Discord server that we've got set up. I believe the first tier that we have that does have the early access to episodes is the $5 tier, which, I mean, again, $5 a month is nothing. You spend $5 a month on Netflix, why can't you spend $5 a month on me? Come on.
You spent $5 on that coffee at Starbucks this morning. Probably more.
Exactly.
We're worth a cup of coffee, right?
if you got that vanilla chai latte with 6 shots of espresso, $7 out the door.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Anyway, now that we're done promoting our Patreon page, what else do you have, my friend?
Well, I have a quick shout out because I was I was forced to promise that I would. Hello to my fellow garden center waterer Lee this morning, because that's what I got to do, and he was out there and he wanted a shout out. So there you go, Lee. You got your shout out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What a hoe. Tell him he's a hoe. I'm telling him he's a hoe. You don't deserve a shout out, Lee. But I guess you're getting one anyway.
You got one anyways. Because I don't care. Also, hi to Angie too, because you better be watching this and listening to this. So, sign up, Angie. I know you want to.
That's right. $5 a month. Hey. You get an RSS feed too for the free or for the early access episode, so you can add it into your favorite podcast player. And you don't even have to worry about going to the Patreon page ever again to download episodes. It's great.
Awesome.
Anyway, let's keep going.
So, something that I was actually wanting to hear from you, but you may not have an opinion on this, so I don't know how well this is going to go, but the JFK assassination. Is there a conspiracy theory behind it, or is Oswald the sole perpetrator?
This isn't something that I've heard or researched too much about. Excuse me, but I don't know. It's definitely possible that there was a conspiracy with the JFK assassination. I mean, there's obviously been other, like, conspiracy theories that have been proven to be true. Like, I mean, we've had declassified documents about all kinds of stuff, including Area 51. So, I mean, it's entirely possible, but I haven't really looked a whole lot into it, so I couldn't give you my opinion as to whether there was more than one shooter or more than one conspirator. I don't know. There could be a conspiracy, but as to what that conspiracy is, I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
What have you heard as far as that goes?
There is 100%, without absolute doubt, a conspiracy. Now, what the conspiracy is, I don't know. I don't want to say it's the government. It very well could have been the government. But Lee Harvey Oswald is not the gunman. I promise you that. There's absolutely no way. There's too much out there. And there's too much that they omitted from the official Warren report to not be a conspiracy. The whole investigation is shambles. There's too much evidence, firearm evidence, that does not line up trajectory-wise. And the timing doesn't work. It's too convenient that he supposedly shoots and kills a Dallas police officer within a few hours of the assassination. And there's too much to the fact that he's pulled out of a movie theater within a few hours with all these cops, drug out the next day, shot and killed and murdered. There's absolutely no way that is all a giant coincidence.
He was murdered in public too, wasn't he?
Yes.
Like outside of the courthouse or whatever?
I believe it was in like the police station garage or something.
Okay,
Not entirely sure exactly where, 100%. I could look it up. I don't really care. It was in front of reporters and everything. They were transporting him or something, and he's shot in public, in front of reporters, in front of the people, everything. There's absolutely no way.
When you put it like that, it like you said, there's definitely, as far as that goes, there's definitely a conspiracy. Because why in the world would you not have enough protection on this guy that supposedly killed the president, as to, not have him be assassinated in the middle of your police garage or in the middle of the street or wherever he was?
Exactly.
And in front of all of these reporters that happen to be there because, they're wanting to report on the dude that supposedly killed the president.
Mm-hmm.
And, dead man can't talk, so...
Yeah, no,
he's dead on camera, so he's definitely dead.
There's absolutely no way. Now, I'm not going to say he's not involved. I'm quite sure he probably is in some way, some form, connected somehow.
Mm-hmm.
He very well may have been a gunman. Not going to say he's not. Not going to say he was. There's no way he's the only one involved. And there's no way that there's only one shooter in that whole mess. It's just not possible. But who's to blame? Lord only knows. It very well could be the government had nothing to do with it. Or the government could have perpetrated the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Lord knows. We'll never find out. Just like
no,
we'll
not
never
in our lifetime.
anything about Area 51. Until
nope.
Those lovely idiots find out in like 6 weeks' time. If they decide to raid, which again,
September 20th,
if you guys
they're gonna Naruto run into the gates.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not going. I'm gonna stay right here in my home.
I'm gonna go and just sit at I'm gonna sit about 300 feet away with a pair of binoculars just to see what happens. I want to see all those idiots run in and then die instantly.
Yeah, no, that's not gonna go well.
I don't care how many people you have. If you're running into an active military base, you are going to die. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about it. Because you're running into an active military base. Not only is there people with guns, but yeah, not only is there people with guns, but they've got tanks and all of this other junk in there that would blow you away before you even got into the gate. Mm-hmm. Let alone to the actual facility. So... yeah, anyway, there's that.
I digress.
I can't with people. I really can't. Good Lord.
Oh
boy.
That's my fun for the evening. That right there.
I actually made a Storm Area 51 joke in one of the episodes that I recorded for my gaming channel, because that's one of the it's one of the levels that in the game that I'm going through, you actually go to Area 51 and rescue an alien.
Oh goodness gracious!
It's too good.
GTA San Andreas, you do the same thing. You gotta go get a jetpack.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, that's so dumb.
Yeah.
Alright. I think that's where we're going to leave it. We're right about at the hour mark. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening to this random mishmash of an episode. I hope you enjoyed us rambling about Patreon and Area 51 and AMD's new Ryzen CPUs and all that junk. Yeah. Thank you for listening. We will see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye, guys. This episode of Podcast Period was produced and hosted by Ben, co-hosted and edited by David. You can find Ben on Twitter at BenPlaysVidjas. That's Ben Plays VIDYAS. And you can find David at Car6by16. You can find the show on Twitter at Podcast Period. or email us at podcastperiod@gmail.com. That's it for this week. Thanks for listening.